Oh, thank you very much, Carol. See you a little bit later. Thank you.
More than 9 million people rent their home in Britain. Steph's been looking at whether there's enough support for tenants and landlords if things go wrong.
Yes, morning to you both. This is something that's becoming of more concern to people as more people are renting. There's lots of people who are renting, and it's a number that's been going up. Morning, everyone. Yes, regulation around renting is complicated, and if you have a problem with your letting agent or landlord, it can be difficult to know who to turn to, particularly in England. Now, councils are trying to crack down on those who aren't looking after tenants properly. Well, with me now is Sean Hooker, who's from the Property Redress Scheme. Good morning to you, Sean.
Good morning, Steph.
So just explain to me how it works at the moment and your kind of role in it all.
OK, right, since October last year, it's been compulsory for every person engaged in lettings or property management to be a member of a redress scheme. That's basically an escalated third-party complaint service that is free to the consumer, but the letting agents have to join, and they pay the fee for joining, and they pay for the complaint to be handled in a professional manner.
So the idea being, if anything goes wrong, then the tenant is able to go to the redress scheme, and then between you all, you can sort it out.
Well, absolutely, and we use mediation and facilitation to try and bring the parties together to come to a resolution.
There are concerns, however, about letting agents, about this not being enough. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, you know, we are a provider of a service. We're not a regulator. We're not somebody that is there to enforce this law. The people who enforce it are the local authorities. And one of the things with the local authorities is that because the government expects the environmental health, the housing teams, because they are the experts on the on housing, to be the enforcement agency. In those councils where there's a division between trading standards and environmental health, which a lot of the two-tier councils in the country have, there's not always that communication. Where's the unitary, where the councils combine the facilities, like in Sheffield and places like Newham in London, Islington and Camden, who have done a lot of work on this, Plymouth as well. They are the ones that are ahead of the game at the moment. And
you mentioned Sheffield because, interestingly, they were one of the first councils to actually fine letting agents for not dealing with this properly, and the MP Jane Dunn explained this to us.
We actually wrote to over 200 letting agents, and we have actually recently fined 11 of them, and we've collected £37,000 from them not actually joining the scheme. But with the welfare reforms and with the massive rise in private rented sector, in Sheffield it's 16%, that's 35,000 families that live in private rented sector. This is really important to us because we want everybody in the city of Sheffield, whether they rent their own home or own their own home, to have really safe, good housing.
And so that's the thoughts there from Sheffield about how they're cracking down on it. What do you think needs to be done?
Well, for a start, the fine is quite substantial. It's £5,000 per offence if you are not a member of a redress scheme. And the deregulation bill that's recently come in also makes it a requirement that you must tell your tenants and your landlords which scheme you're a member of and give them the details of it. And again, failure to do that is another enforceable fine, and again, of £5,000. So effectively, what the councils can do is, if they find these agents that are not complying with the law, they can impose the fine. Government's allowing the councils to keep the money, so if it's going to be self-funding if the councils put that money back into the enforcement. So the councils that have had success, like Sheffield, again Newham, have found that this becomes a self-funding exercise, and that the agents are starting to wake up and realise that this has got a little bit of teeth to actually make them join it.
Yes, it's worth it. Sean, thank you very much for explaining that to us this morning. That's it for me for now.
Steph, see you later.